Greetings. This is a volcano and earthquake forecast video covering New Zealand and also the Australian region for November 2017. This video is exclusive content for subscribers of the solarwatcher.net website. We're now looking at the important astronomical events that will be taking place for the month, and there's not much to report in terms of planetary influences. We do have strong lunar influences that will be available for the month, and these are occultations of Mars and Saturn taking place on the 15th and 21st. The lunar perigee on November 6 stands out, as well as Mercury being of significant influence towards the end of the month on November 24, where it will reach greatest elongation. We're now looking at the exact overhead longitudinal position of the Moon at the time of both lunar perigee and lunar apogee for the month of November. The lunar perigee will take place on November 6. We have a very strong profile over Europe and also Africa, which may indicate a strong shake for one of these regions for the month. And the lunar apogee has a strong signature over the Americas with a strong profile over the Caribbean plate and also South America. We're now looking at the important lunar declinations which will take place on November 8 and November 22nd. Again, we have a very strong profile on November 8 covering the same regions of the lunar perigee, which focuses on Europe and also the African region, which may indicate a very strong shake around the first week or two. And the second lunar declination on November 22nd has a very strong ominous profile over the South Pacific Ocean, with key areas of note being the South Pacific Islands and also the New Zealand mainland. Now looking at the important lunar influences that will be in play for the month of November, and as we can see, a fairly strong month in terms of lunar influence, and it will be even stronger in December. Now the key dates of focus in terms of lunar influence will definitely be November 3rd, where we have three simultaneous interactions where the Moon will oppose Venus and Jupiter and conjoin Uranus. Other key dates will be November 15 and November 17, where there are two simultaneous interactions. In terms of Australia and New Zealand mainlands, the key dates of focus will definitely be the first week of the month for both New Zealand and also Australia, and a key period from November 20 through November 27, which could see strong shaking across the New Zealand mainland. These are the key dates of focus for the month of November. We're now looking at the important planetary alignments that will be taking place for the month, and just three geocentric planetary alignments to be featured. Now we do know that Venus will be in two very powerful alignments involving the Earth, geocentrically, but also opposing Uranus and conjoining Jupiter on both November 4 and November 13. These dates stand out, and I'm expecting a fairly significant earthquake to be felt globally in the first week of the month. And then Mercury will conjoin Saturn at the end of the month, November 28. As mentioned earlier, the lunar perigee, which will be taking place on November 6, will be the sixth nearest approach for the Moon for the entire year. Now we do need to note the Moon, as it will be quite strong, especially in December. So we should cap off the end of the year to be quite significant in terms of lunar influence, and we should start to see strong earthquakes, especially in December, and the lunar influence will start to kick in early November. And finally, wrapping up the lunar influence, we do need to note the Moon-Jupiter conjunction, which will be taking place just after mid-month on November 17. Now, this month represents a fairly strong risk for a strong quake, especially around the South Pacific Islands and also the Kermadec Islands region. So I'm expecting the lunar influence to be quite strong around this area, which may see strong shaking just north of New Zealand for the month. And now the forecast for the New Zealand region. We begin on November 1st, where data and analysis does suggest a potential for a fairly significant earthquake registered to 5.5 magnitude, this time for the North Island, New Zealand, which could see strong shaking in and around regions of Palmerston North, Hastings or Hawke's Bay. Definitely a time frame we'll need to watch and monitor on November 1st. The next data focus will be November 4, where data and analysis does indicate a potential 4.8 magnitude earthquake, this time for regions in and around the Cook Strait. Other areas of focus will be Blenheim, Picton or Nelson. Now data does indicate a potential shallow earthquake, so this event on November 4 could be quite shallow. So the first 4 days of the month could be quite busy in terms of earthquakes for the New Zealand mainland, as there is strong celestial influence as well as lunar influences. Now pushing forward, and November 13 will be the next date of focus. Again, the North Island, New Zealand could see another strong shake. Areas of note will be again the Cook Strait, Blenheim or Wellington regions, which could see this potential 4.6 magnitude earthquake registered. With strong harmonic data, November 21st seems to be another potential earthquake for the North Island. This time a 4.8 magnitude earthquake could be possible in and around the regions of Masterton, Palmerston North, Hastings or the Hawke's Bay region. And finally, wrapping up the month, we do have a series of celestial geodetic crossings which may indicate a potential 6.2 magnitude earthquake and the strongest quake for the month. Now I'm concerned about the top end of New Zealand, perhaps just off the East Cape or the Bay of Plenty region, or perhaps just south of the Kermadec Islands. This could be a quite significant earthquake in and around the volcanoes of the White Island volcano and also Rail Island just further north. This could be quite significant and also a time frame you'll need to watch and monitor on November 28. In summary, the month of November could be quite significant in terms of earthquakes across the New Zealand mainland, with periods at the beginning and also the end of the month standing out. But I'm concerned about the period at the beginning of the month. The first 4 days could be quite significant, with earthquakes registered over 5 magnitude. Definitely a time frame we all need to watch and monitor, the month of November. Now moving across the Tasman into the Australian region and the forecast for November. Now on paper there's not much to report. There seems to be a fairly quiet month in terms of seismicity for Australia, with the key dates being for Northern Territory on November 6th. And West Australia could be the most busiest state of the month, with 4 registered earthquakes potentially over 3 magnitude, specifically isolating the West Australian mainland, which could see 2 potential shakes registered over 4 magnitude on November 15 and also November 25. These will be the key dates of focus in what should be a fairly quiet month in terms of earthquakes for the Australian mainland for the month of November. And that concludes this volcano and earthquake forecast video covering the New Zealand and also the Australian region for the month of November 2017. For more information, please visit solarwatcher.net, where there will be more content for members and subscribers, as well as website newsletters. Thanks for watching.